Okay, the first plants we want to look at are kind of related. Well, they are related. 818 and 818, that's how related they are. They're on the same page. Are the Picea pungens. And we talked about plants that have bloom and how we have capitalized on them in ornamental horticulture. So these are Picea pungens and Picea pungens forma glauca. And if we look at the spruce there at the end, we look at these three spruce, and if you're coming back here and looking at them, you can really see that there are some differences. What are the differences, Dan? No, look at the overall character of the plant. We've got three here, one there, and one there. Color, exactly. So what has happened is there is a forma glauca, right? And I think it's the first forma that we're looking at as a group of plants. And forma glauca is the one. Glauca means is white, right? But in plant terms, it refers to a bluish tinge as well. So we've got a group of plants that have got a bluish tinge to them, and we've got some that are straight green. So we've got the straight species, and we've got the forma glauca. Why are they all planted together? Why wouldn't they have planted three forma glaucas there? Cross-pollination. Cross-pollination. Don't want a monoculture. Fanshawe would be never that forward-thinking in its design years ago. These were probably 25 years old when these were planted. Why are they different colors? Why are they different shapes? Why are they different forms?
Were they all planted the same, but the bloom was rubbed off?
No. The bloom wasn't rubbed off. They were all planted at the same time. Why? Why do they all look different?
Different places.
The way she goes. Great explanation. You're going to walk up to Mrs. Hornblower, who's got her multi-million-dollar mansion, and she's going to say, why are my plants different? You're a graduate of Fanshawe, and you're going to just say, that's the way she goes. And she's going to say, get out of down my driveway, that's the way she goes. Why? Mark?
Somewhere on sale?
Somewhere on sale. Well, close. What nursery people have done is something kind of a little illicit. They take Picea pungens forma glauca seedlings, or seed, and they plant them in the nursery in rows. And then they select out the bluest ones, and they sell them for a premium as blue spruce. Because all of the cultivars of blue spruce, and we're going to see Fat Albert in a minute, are all grafted. And grafting is very expensive. So you can buy a blue spruce seedling for about $1, or you can buy a grafted one for about $5, right? Now, $5 is not much compared to $1, but when you're buying, say, 1,000 of them, that's a substantial amount of money. So what nursery growers have done is they plant out these rows and they select out the bluest ones and they sell them as blue spruce. So when this design was put in, and it was supervised and designed by a landscape architect, he, don't know who it was, didn't do their job because the plan probably called for Picea pungens, hoopsii, or costeri, a cultivar of blue spruce. The installer showed up with a bunch of blue spruce. They looked blue. Someone wasn't on the ball. They got planted. And here, years later, we've got this perfect lesson on variability in plant selection. So we've got a straight species, which probably showed a little bit of blue when it was young. We've got one back behind that's quite blue. We've got one over here that's quite blue. And we had one in the middle here that we cut down, I think we cut it down this fall. Now there's a problem with Picea pungens. They have something called spruce canker, Cytospora kunzai. And you can see evidence on this tree of Cytospora. If you look up and you see a bare branch, or you see a branch going reddish brown, and then dropping, it will eventually drop all of its needles. That is called spruce canker. And spruce canker is kind of the equivalent of cancer in plants. It is specific to spruce and more specific to Picea pungens and cultivars, and it affects trees that are aged or under stress. Now, these trees are not old, but they are under stress. This is a less than an ideal environment for them to be planted because they're planted close to buildings, sidewalks, not much area in between, a ton of salt being dumped around them. They are somewhat salt tolerant, and that makes them a great urban tree. And they're tolerant of heat, right? They're a middle states, Colorado, and points further west, so they grow on relatively tough, hot, dry conditions. And if you go up to them, some of you are going to go up to them. This is good. And grab a hold of the furlage and squeeze it in the palm of your hand. You always want to use the palm of your hand. And it's prickly, right?
Yes.
It's very, very prickly.
Quite.
If you push against the needles, you'll see that it's really quite prickly. That's a characteristic of Picea. Yeah, you gotta take your gloves off. And if we come in here, come on in here.
A lot of sound.
You'll see some of the evidence of spruce canker right here.
Oh, yeah.
Now, if you prune a plant with spruce canker, you can infect another plant. So who's collecting samples today?
How many people brought secateurs?
You have secateurs. Adam, so you're collecting samples. Who else is collecting samples? You are? Okay, so someone needs to cut the blue spruce and then cut nothing else, and then we need to disinfect your secateurs at the end.
I'm down.
You want to get this one?
You get this one, so you can be the infected one. You're kind of like the zombie of the class. Okay? But you can also see evidence here of spruce canker. You get this oozing of this resin. And can I borrow your secateurs? I'm going to make them real messy here.
Oh, lovely.
Oh,
You can see
it's like sappy.
you get this resin. You can actually make chewing gum out of spruce. You can collect the sap and you boil it and refine it. They're going to be a little sticky now.
It's all right.
But you can make a chewing gum out of spruce gum.
Used to brace the wind.
Well, it doesn't matter. That's because this is just a reaction to the limb being cut off, and it oozes this excess resin because of the spruce canker. Anybody want to make chewing gum? Emily, why don't you make some chewing gum? Kyle, you make some chewing gum. There we go. Don't put it in your pocket because as resin warms up,
Hold on to it forever.
it'll get really, really sticky.
Put it back on the
everywhere.
tree.
Anyhow, look at the cones. Cones are really quite unique. Remember I said you're going to identify cones, so if you're picking up samples today, grab the cone too. Adam, you're going to grab a cone. The cones are kind of a light colored. They've got a little point on the scale of the cone, and they're kind of medium sized. Right? And they're very soft. When you take these in, they'll open up, but they're really quite soft. So compared to pine cones, they're going to be really quite distinct, and they're often resinous as well. So you'll have a bit of resin on them. Now, blue spruce are a fairly large tree. They'll grow upwards of 60 or so feet tall. But they can be short-lived in the urban landscape. Typically 50 years, 50, 60 years is the limit for blue spruce. Any longer than that, and they're exceptional.
That's just in the urban?
Yeah, urban. Yeah, because of the spruce canker and the drought and such, although they are drought tolerant. If you look at the needles on spruce, if you pull the needles off, yes, you should. I'm not getting a heel here, but there should be.
Yeah, mine's not working either.
Yeah.
So,
If you pull the needles off, you'll get a bit of a heel. Now, that's going to be important later on when we look at ABs, firs, because ABs don't give you a heel, but they look like spruce. So that's going to be able to help. That's going to help you define the two. Okay. Okay. Let's go.